All right, I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, all right. Thank you. We would like to begin this transmission by saying we were going to talk about self-worth, but we're not sure we're worthy enough to talk about that. So you see what happens when you are in that state of being, of feeling that you lack self-worth. You deprive others of what you have to give. You're not giving the gifts that you were meant to give in your world, that others are waiting to receive from you. As we have said many times, if there is something that excites you, something that you have to give, some way of expressing your true self, there will always be someone waiting to receive that from you. And by feeling or believing that you are not worthy, not deserving of acting on your passion, you are actually holding back those things that others are waiting to receive, that they may need in their lives. Each and every one of you has something to give, has something of benefit, of service to others, that is simply representative of nothing more complicated than being your true self and expressing that truth in whatever way, shape, or form excites you the most, is most representative of your peace, your balance, your passion, your joy. Holding back on that also then allows you to feel diminished, devalued. The idea, of course, of believing that you are unworthy, as we have said from time to time, is proven to be false by the fact of your existence. For again, creation does not make mistakes, and if you were truly unworthy, you would not exist. So if you exist, which you do, or you wouldn't be hearing this, then creation must need you to. You must be that important, or all that is couldn't be all that it is, or all that it could be without you. So you are worthy on the most basic level by the fact of your existence itself. And any time that you buy into the idea that you are not worthy of your life, not worthy to be who you truly are, who you know yourself to be, who you prefer to be, not worthy, not deserving to live your dreams, then you are engaging, as we have said, in an argument with creation that you will never win, because you will never cease to exist. That is simply not possible. Existence is your basic quality, to be. And therefore, that basic worthiness, if you can understand that from that level, can begin to filter into the rest of your life and all the expressions of your true self that are reflective of your natural existence, of who you are as the unique individual you have been created to be. But if you buy into the idea of lack of self-worth, there are many different kinds of symptoms that will happen, many different kinds of expressions that will come from that negative belief about yourself. First and foremost, of course, the ones that seem most obvious is that you can experience what you call depression, which is again the negative view of what the natural state is, which is simply compression, which means you withdraw into the center of your being where you know the answers lie when you cannot find them outside. That's a natural experience. But if you negate it, if you give it a negative definition, then it becomes the experience of depression, as if something is wrong about going within. If you allow it to be the natural experience of compression, you will simply find the answers you seek. You will then emerge having redefined yourself as a new person. But again, buying into lack of self-worth may allow you to experience this as depression. And of course, people in that state can experience other side effects, not only mentally, emotionally, such as suicidal thoughts. But the idea also of physically causing dis-ease within yourselves, to manifest the idea of how you see yourself, to create a reflection in the outer reality, the physical reality, representation and symbol of how you see yourself energetically, spiritually. However, the idea is that you will always generally find that most people, even with the idea of lack of self-worth as a belief system, will attempt in some way, shape, or form to validate themselves. The only difference will be that if you actually are holding on to a belief that you lack worth, you will attempt all that validation outwardly instead of inwardly. You will not know how to validate yourself on your own. So you will seek it, if you seek it at all, through the idea of an exterior expression. This kind of insecurity about yourself leads to a polarized expression of the ego. And in fact, those that are the most insecure, the most connected to the concept of lack of self-worth, will express their ego in a very exaggerated way to counterbalance and make up for the fact that they don't actually believe they're worthy. So they will attempt to express worthiness through the aggrandizement and amplification and blowing up of their ego, and express themselves in a very egotistical, very often narcissistic way. This should be the first clue that they really don't have self-value in mind, because they are attempting to create an expression of it, but it's, in a sense, an act. And they don't really believe in what they are saying, in what they are doing, in what they are expressing. They just don't want anyone else to know that they feel worthless. So they will put on a front, and they will seek, many times, again, as a symptom that you can recognize in life, the idea of outside validation over and over and over again, requiring quite often the idea of others to validate them, because they do not spend the time to validate themselves. So they will, in the sense, become very needy. Very often will be one of the strong symptoms, requiring constant validation from those around them, since they will not give it to themselves. This will, of course, create secondary negative effects in any form of relationship that they may find themselves in, because they will always be only relying on others to create the sense of worth that they simply deny themselves. So you can look for these symptoms and understand that it is coming from a place where they do not feel valued and do not know how to give themselves the idea of self-valuation, self-appreciation, to the degree that if they don't get it from others, if they don't, in some sense, insist on it from the outer reflection, they will feel empty, bereft, abandoned. But then another side effect of that, because they will awesomely be in denial of the idea that they are lacking worth, because they don't want to face that, is they will project onto others the idea that they are being abandoned, not being supported, not being valued by others, because they cannot face the fact that they are not valuing themselves, because they believe themselves not to be worthy of value. But they are in denial of the fact that they are doing that to themselves, so they will always project it on others who are not then willing to do it for them. These are symptoms as well of that self-devaluation, that lack of self-worth as a belief. So look for these symptoms and understand with compassion that such people may or may not be willing to receive new tools, new understandings of how they can know that they are valuable, know that they are worthy, know that they belong in creation, and begin to see themselves in a way where they don't require constant reminders from those around them of how valuable they are, constant reassurance from those around them that they are worthy. For that will not be a reflection that can last a long time. For others will sense that it is coming from a place of non-belief in what those people are saying to them. So even when someone might say, yes, you are worthy, yes, you have value, yes, I recognize these things about you, because they are in denial of it within themselves, they may not actually even buy it from other people, though they may act like they do, or act like they really need it, but they may not really still believe it. And thus they create a downward spiral of negativity that acts in many ways like what you would call a black hole in space, sucking up all the light, all the benefit, all the value they are given from others, to the point where others begin to realize that they cannot give them enough value. They cannot, in any way, shape, or form, validate them enough. And therefore, they recognize that since all of that reflection is really just disappearing within that person and never actually being put to use in the sense of strengthening that person's ability to know that they are worthy, know that they are valuable, the outside reflection will eventually usually stop. And it will then thrust the person devaluing themselves into an even deeper downward spiral that can again lead to the concepts of depression, senses of abandonment, suicidal thoughts, and all of those things that go with not being able to support the self, not knowing how to believe what others are telling them, and needing others to do it because they will not do it for themselves. So take note in your lives, in relationships, when individuals are removing the platform from under their own feet, not able in their own minds to really stand, not able to give themselves the valuation that they truly need, constantly asking for recognition for everything that they may do, instead of giving themselves the recognition in a humble way and being of service to others. Allow yourselves more awareness, more conscious perception, and by all means, should you come across individuals devaluing themselves in that way, by all means share with them that they do not have to do so. By all means share with them that there are tools by which, and ideas and beliefs by which they can know that they are valuable, know that they are worthy. But also allow yourselves to recognize that unconditional love is not about continuing to support a vibration that is incompatible with your preference beyond a certain point. The most unconditionally loving thing you can do sometimes is to demonstrate the consequence of another person's choice. And it may not be what they prefer, but it may be what they're telling you needs to happen. Because if you do not give them a reflection of the consequence of what they are choosing for themselves, you give them no opportunity to change, no reason to change. It doesn't mean they will change, but at least give them a reason to. For if they want to remain in a relationship with you, by being given a clear reflection of the consequence of constantly devaluing themselves and constantly needing others to validate them, by showing them that you can no longer do so because it's actually not in their best interests for you to continue to support the negative behavior, you at least give them an opportunity to recognize that they may need to change if they wish to maintain the relationship with the real you and not with who they actually insist that you must be, because that is not being in a relationship with who you really are. So we would always encourage you not to reinforce the negativity, but to let them know there is always an opportunity to know how valuable they are, how worthy they are, and to give themselves what they need. And the irony and the paradox in this is that when a person does, in fact, humbly value themselves, they will often find that others will value them quite often. And they will see the reflections of their self-valuation in your reality and in their reality. So, use the power of the paradox to allow them to know that what they truly need will be given to them, ironically, when they don't need it, in a needy way. Because everyone needs validation. Everyone needs to know they are worthy and deserving. Everyone needs to know that. But the point is to know that by the fact of your existence, you are worthy, you are validated, you are deserving. And when you can stand in that certainty and stand in that awareness and stand in that knowingness, you will get the reflections that you need of that worthiness, of that validity. It will simply be the reflection of the energy you're giving off. Because when you shine, the mirror has something to reflect back. But when, like a black hole, you suck in all the light, there is nothing that can be reflected to you because you're giving nothing off that is representative of that validity, of that worthiness. Does this make sense to you? All right. So, just bear it in mind, keep it in mind, pay attention. Let your senses be aware of when you are seeing these symptoms. Do your best to assist, but not at the expense of your own worthiness. For that is never helpful nor loving to anyone. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea, this point of view, with you at this time. And in return for the gift you are all giving to us in allowing us to experience all of you, I ask, in what way may we now be of service to you? You may begin with your questions and sharings if you wish.
Hello.
And to you, good day. Oh, let us say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. First and foremost, we will once again thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission this day of your time. Every single time you offer us an opportunity to interact with each and every one of you, it is a gift for us. So we thank you for that sharing, for that gift. In this transmission, which we have titled The 7 Neutral Needs, we would like to begin this way. Now, many people on your planet have discussed with us that when they find themselves in certain circumstances, they do not necessarily know the difference between what it is they need in life and what it is that they often say that they want in life. There is a big difference between the idea of the energy of what you need and what you may want. Now, sometimes they might coincide if you get lucky. But the idea is that many times what you want might often be the product of what you've been taught to believe you need that may not actually be what you really need in life. And what you want can sometimes, because of those belief systems that might be either fear-based or negative, be something that the negative ego thinks it needs to be in control of, it needs to attract into your life in order for your life to be fulfilled. But the thing to understand is that life works automatically when you allow it to. And everything you truly need will come to you in perfect timing. It's an automatic mechanism. The idea of wanting something, we understand that the way you mean it, we understand that the way you often use it, but when you put too much emphasis behind it as being something that must happen in the way you have envisioned it happening, very often you're actually limiting yourself and limiting the way it could happen much greater than you imagine. Because the physical mind, as we have said, is limited in its way of imagining things. The higher mind, in a sense, can imagine more. So when the physical mind seeks to control and says, well, I want this, and if this doesn't happen, then something must be wrong, then you're actually closing the doors through which the higher mind could give you something better than the physical mind was capable of imagining, and thus you are actually shortchanging yourselves. But the idea also to remember is that every single thing is its own state of being. And the idea of wanting something is exactly that. It is a state of wanting. It is not a state of having. So if you insist on wanting, you're going to remain in a state of wanting, and you're not actually going to be able to have, to really manifest, to experience the focus of your wanting, because all you're doing is saying you want it, and therefore you will continue to do nothing but stay in a state of wanting it, and it will never arrive. That's another reason to understand that wanting is not necessarily in your best interest, but needing is. Now, the idea is that when you again find yourself in circumstances and you might find yourself being confused about what's going on and what do I really need here, to really allow myself to move forward in life, to really act on my passion to the best of my ability, with no insistence on an outcome. What do I really need in life to be who I really am, to allow my life to grow, to expand in the most joyful possible way? What do I really need? So in this transmission, we have broken it down for you to the 7 basic needs. Now, we call them the neutral needs because these are the basic things you need to survive in your life. The idea is not so much that you have to assign a meaning to them, which is again why we call them neutral. They function automatically in a certain way by themselves, although you can certainly color them with your belief system and imbue them with different meanings and different emotions and different definitions and so forth. But by themselves, they are just the basic fundamental needs that are required for you to exist in your physical reality experience. And anytime you find yourself caught up in any kind of circumstance where you find yourself wondering what kind of state of being is really most beneficial for you to be in, you can always use these 7 neutral needs to go back to a ground state, back to a fundamental state, and start again from zero, start again from scratch, and recognize that in many circumstances, you really are getting what you need. And by focusing on the 7 neutral needs, it can also aid and assist you in understanding the difference between what you may really need in that moment as opposed to what you are saying you want in that moment. And it can act as a clarifying system for you. Now, the 7 neutral needs, shall we say, have different time frames associated to them, because they are things you really do need to experience your physical reality. You will find that some of them you need all the time. Some of them can take weeks before you realize you need it. Some of them can take years before you realize you need it, but you really need them all. The idea is that without them, you will either quickly or slowly die. That's how you know they are actually fundamental needs. The ones that take years, in a sense, can seem misleading because you might feel, well, I'm still fine, I'm still breathing, I'm still moving along. And so you can fool yourself into thinking you don't need it, or that you are altering it in a way that is not really in alignment with the need. But nevertheless, all we're saying is the difference between the needs that are quick And the needs that take longer is just that you either die quickly or you die slowly over time. And when we say die, we are also talking about the idea of your energy, your spirit, your willingness to live, your feeling that you belong, your feeling that you fit, your feeling that you are empowered. These things with negative beliefs can, over time, wither, in a sense, and appear to die, causing you to slowly die over time, when you could be living a more vibrant life, a more energetic life. So, what are the 7 neutral needs? Thank you. We're glad you asked. In order of how long they take to kill you, if you don't do them, we start with, you need air. If you don't have air, you will be dead pretty soon. Within a matter of minutes. So that's the quickest one. You need air to live in your physical reality. Next, you need water to live in your physical reality. Without water, you will probably die in about a week. So that's a little longer. Next, now, many of you may be thinking, well, next, I need food. That's not the next thing. Next, you need sleep. You need to dream. You need to reconnect to spirit. That's what sleeping is for. That's what dreaming is about. You need to re-energize your physical battery. Without sleep, you will only last about 11 days. And then you will die. And sleep a lot longer than you intended to. Next is food. You need food in general. Now, please understand, before we go on, of course, there are always some exceptions. There are people who are of a state where they can be breatharians and so on and so forth, and they may seem to not need food for longer periods of time. I'm not talking about the exceptions. I'm talking about the general populace on your planet. So, in general, you need sustenance of some form, or you will find in about 2 to 3 weeks you will start to die. Now, what's next? Those are the 4 main ones that happen pretty rapidly. Now we enter a new phase where things can take months or years. So, what is next is you need some form of shelter. Now, when we say shelter, we don't necessarily mean it has to be a building or a house. Your environment can be your shelter if it is the kind of environment in which you can thrive. So, for instance, people on your planet who might live on a tropical isle where the weather is always fine will find that that will be shelter enough, and they won't necessarily have to live in a dwelling in the classical sense. But you need some form of shelter, even if it is simply your environment that is beneficial to you. That is still a shelter, the shelter of nature, the shelter of earth that is in accord and in alignment with the human form to sustain it. Next, you need some form of connection, relationship, in some way. I understand that sometimes people may be on journeys where they seem to spend a long time alone. But that doesn't mean they're not in a relationship. The relationship doesn't have to be with other human beings. It can be with animals, it can be with trees, it can be with spirit, it can be with a rock, it can be with God, but it's a relationship. You have some sense of connection to life, connection to nature, connection to existence and spirit, connection to your essence and your being. You have a relationship with all that is in some form of expression. Without that, again, it may take years, but you will slowly die without that connection. Which brings you back to the idea of sleep, because again, that's what the sleep is for, to make that connection. Now, as we have said, on our world, we no longer eat, we no longer sleep, because we are always connected. We are always sustained just by the energy of the universe. We have evolved to that point, and eventually you will too. But right now, again, as a generality, you will find that most of you need some form of relationship, some form of connection, some form of exchange with consciousness, some form of reflection that allows you to get in touch with the things you need to be more of who you are, the things you need to grow. This is a true need. The final need is what you might call creative expression. In other words, when you allow yourself to be who you are, it must be expressed. This is where acting on your passion falls in. This is where you express the aspect of creation that you are. You express the connections that you've made. You express the energy that has sustained you in life. So you need some form of personal, creative expression that is unique to you, that allows you to know, that allows you to shout that you are alive, that allows you to shine, that allows your spirit to be counted, to be seen, to be known, to be felt, to be understood. Those are the 7 neutral needs. And again, the idea of some of the later ones, like not expressing yourself creatively, not expressing, not stating who you are in some way, shape, or form by following your passion, can take years to kill you if you're not doing it. But you will slowly be dying. Now, again, there may be moments when you go through phases where you're not doing it. That's fine, because, again, those phases may be there to teach you something. As long as you understand that one of the tools in the kit of following your passion is the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything you might be holding on to in your unconscious mind that is out of alignment with your truth, that is out of alignment with what you need, and you allow yourself to address it, then that's the point. That's the purpose of having that moment of discovering something that is not your excitement in that moment, so that you can let it go and add its energy to your overall excitement and express yourself in grander ways. The idea, therefore, paradoxically, of the reflective mirror, while you're following your excitement, revealing something to you that is not part of your excitement, is part of your excitement. To find out what doesn't excite you is part of your excitement, because when something manifests in your life that might be representative of what you don't prefer, you can use that in a positive way by recognizing that it might be there as a clarifying point to show you what you don't prefer much more clearly, so that you can see what you do prefer by contrast much more clearly. That's how to use what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer. So again, the expression of your truth, the expression of your being by following your passion to the best you're able, with no insistence on a particular outcome, because you really don't know what's supposed to happen. You may think you do, but that's where you go back to the negative ego. That's where you go back to the idea that the ego thinks it has to control everything. That's where you go by the idea of wanting. I want this to happen. This has to happen. It's really got to happen, or something is wrong. Something went wrong somewhere. I'm off my path. No. You cannot be off your path. You are your path. The only way you can experience as if you're off your path is by assuming that something that has happened in your life cannot possibly be there for a positive reason. Remember, remember, remember. This is what you need to remember. It doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. That's the key. That's the secret. But when you find yourself in a puzzle, in a conundrum, when you feel like you have forgotten, just go back to the 7 neutral needs. Let's see. I'm still breathing. I'm doing pretty good. I've got number 1 on the checklist checked off. Got that down pat. I need some water. Oh, all right. I might be a little thirsty, might be a little dehydrated. All right. Glug, glug, glug. Check that off your list. I need to get some sleep. I'm feeling really tired. Why am I tired? I'm exhausted because I've been trying to be someone I'm not, which is the most tiring thing you can do. So I am now excited about resting. Rest, regenerate, connect, re-energize your batteries. Now, perhaps, when you wake up, you are hungry. Get some food. Put it in your body. Whatever it may be that works for you. Listen to your body consciousness. Listen to your intuition. You don't have to force yourself to be more spiritual. Yes, it's important to lighten up, but when your energy is on a higher frequency, you will automatically lose the urge to eat certain things that might have a heavier energy. There is no reason to force yourself there, which is an oxymoron, and it doesn't work anyway. Listen to your body consciousness. It knows what you need, and it knows what you don't need. So, pay attention to that. Then, all right, got that all checked off, those first 4 biggies. And now, some shelter. The idea of, are you in the environment that excites you? Because remember, when we talk about doing what excites you the most and following your passion and acting on it, it has to be a complete thing, a holistic thing. Doing what excites you, in the way it excites you, how it excites you, where it excites you, with whom it excites you, will automatically allow your synchronicity to lead you to the place that is most representative, that will bring you the form of shelter or environment that you need to allow you to be who you really are and continue to grow. And also the idea of connection. It will again synchronistically bring into your life all those of whatever type of being that really is most representative of the connections you need to make in order to discover more relationship, more about yourself, more reflectivity, more information that you might need to add to your understanding of your being and your theme of exploration in this life, and help you grow and expand. And then finally, yes, the expression of who and what you are. Your purpose in life is to be you as best as you possibly can. That's your purpose. The expression of your purpose will be as different as there are as many people, because that's just an expression of your purpose. Your passion is the expression of your purpose, but the vibration, the frequency of your passion is who you actually are, is your frequency of existence, is your essential self. So expressing yourself, acting on your passion to the best you're able with no insistence, so you don't get caught up again in that idea of wanting, which isn't necessarily aligned with what you truly need. And if you can check all those off, you're doing pretty good. You're really doing all you need to do. You're really doing the best you can. And you can start relaxing into the idea that life works automatically. You can start allowing synchronicity to work for you in positive ways rather than negative ways. Because remember, synchronicity is always working. Always. It never stops. But there is negative synchronicity. And when you buy into negative beliefs, fear-based beliefs, then you are feeding the machine with negative energy, and it can only produce negative synchronicity and allow the things to happen or not happen that will continue to perpetuate the idea of the downward spiral of negative synchronicity. But when you feed it the positive energy and stay in the positive vibratory state, no matter what's going on, no matter how it looks, you are feeding the machine with the positive energy that will allow you to experience synchronicity in the positive way. This is just physics. What you put out is what you get back, because physical reality isn't real. It's just a mirror. It's just a projection of your consciousness. So, allow yourselves to always go back to those neutral places. Allow yourself to recognize that you have what you need. And if you're going to find yourself wanting, then at least want what you need. And nothing else, because what else do you need but what you truly need? You already come in with everything you need. It's not always manifest. You don't always see it right away, because there is a timing to the unfolding and the appearance of these things. But all that timing is baked in. It's there, right here with you. You don't have to force it. It will happen in perfect timing. That's the way it's designed. That's the way it's structured. So remember, Many people on your planet talk about the idea of, well, surrender to it. Surrender to the flow. And many people, because of the way you've been taught to believe things, think, oh, surrender. Well, that means I'm giving up control. No. Surrender is simply giving over to the control you already have built in. Surrender is giving up on thinking that the ego has to control everything. All the ego has to do is keep you focused in your physical experience and go along for the ride. That's all it's designed to do. That's all it needs to do. Don't burden the ego with more than it was designed to handle. Otherwise, it starts getting a little bit crotchety. And it turns into the negative ego. Oh, you want me to handle that? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, I have to have this too? Oh, all right, now I have to make that happen? Oh, I'm beginning not to like you very much. So I'm going to start playing some dirty tricks on you, and I'm going to make you think that you need to have this when it's just a want. See if you like it when I overburden you with the things you've overburdened me with. Yes, the ego knows how to play that game. So, let the ego do its job of simply experiencing your life, allowing you to have the focus to experience a physical reality. Because remember, that focus is all it is. It's just an imposition on yourself of a particular point of view that allows you to experience something called physical reality as if it was real. It's not. Your natural state is non-physical, so to speak. Your natural state is spirit. You never leave spirit, ever. You're just dreaming that you have left spirit. You are having a dream in spirit that you're not in spirit. That's what physical reality is. It's just a focus. In the same way that when you go to sleep and you have a dream, and it seems very real, and then you wake up, and you go, oh, well, no matter how real that felt, this is who I really am. Well, no, not really. This is actually the dream. You've just gone to sleep. And when you go to sleep at night and you dream, that's when you actually have woken up. Because you are more of yourself in that state, more connected, more aware to your spiritual essence. That's why time doesn't make sense in dreams, because in the spirit realm, time is that malleable, that flexible. It doesn't really exist in the same way, because it's just part of your dream that it exists. Time is just a side effect of your consciousness, experiencing things in a certain way so you can have the experience you call physical reality, which is just a dream within your consciousness. Is this making some sense? All right. Then, at this time, we will thank you for allowing us to share these ideas with you. And I would like to then return the gift you have given us by asking, in what way now may we be of service to you? If you wish to begin with your comments and questions, you may do so. I don't say we will continue the transmission in the following way. Everyone relax. Take a deep breath in and let it out gently. Take another deep breath in and let it out gently. And one more breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it. And blow. Continue to breathe in a gentle and easy manner. And as you do, allow your lights to dim, allow your music to come up, and allow yourselves to focus on the holotope, on the center, and the array of lines of light that radiate outward from this central point. And allow yourself to recognize the spiral patterns within this image, spirals like the number 9, spiraling out from the center, expanding in the same manner as the Fibonacci spiral in nature, radiating outward, encompassing the entirety of the cosmos, stretching to infinity. The spiral of 9, the vibration of 9, the cycles of 9. As you continue to relax and breathe, allow yourselves to go deeper within your being, deep into your centers of contemplation, deep into your centers of meditation, deep into your center of relaxation, deep into your place of perfect peace, where everything comes together, and all the spirals of 9 that stretch from infinity back to you curl and spiral into the center with you, connecting to you, surrounding you, anchoring you, stabilizing you, while at the same time feeding you an unlimited amount of information and energy, balancing you, energizing you. Allow yourselves to feel not only your place of perfect peace and balance, but also the pulse of the energy, the power of the energy, of the vibration of standing on the threshold between your physical reality and the higher dimensional planes of all that is. You are standing on the borderline of the country of your physical realm, gazing out to the endless horizon of the vast array of dimensions of experience that all touch the border upon which you stand, that all lap upon the shores of your reality, bringing with them the waves of energy from distant seas and different lands, all coming to you, wave after wave, wave after wave, gently, beautifully, the beautiful rushing sound that lulls you with its white noise into a beautiful, relaxing, vibrational state. The cycles of 9 begin to awaken within you. Patterns begin to form within you. Windows begin to open within you. Doors begin to swing wide within you. And all the cycles and the patterns and the vibrations overlap, reinforcing each other. Waves up and down upon which you float. Eddies and currents of cycles overlapping, blending, merging, separating out again, radiating out from the central source to the rest of creation, and radiating back in, overlapping in beautiful patterns, radiating circles in and out simultaneously. And as you contemplate and meditate and vibrate to the cycles of 9, you know that anytime you prefer, anytime you so desire, anytime you wish, you can stand upon that shore and gaze at that infinite horizon and know and feel and see that all the information you need is coming to you from all directions to your place of perfect peace, your place of balance, the center of your being. 9. 9. 9. The vibration resonates within you like a bell and allows you to feel the exuberance and intelligence contained within. The vibration of potentiality, of exploration, of completion, of the ending of one cycle and the beginning of another. that contains also within it the square root of the cycles of threes, of the triangles and the tetrahedrons and the pyramids that are representative of the underlying template structure of physical reality, that rise 3 times 3 itself to the cycle of completion, to the vibration of 9, and carries you aloft to distant shores at the speed of light, which forms the skin of the bubble of your reality, and in which you see and experience the reflection of all things contained within your reality, accessible by you with the lightest touch of the gentlest finger upon your hand. You touch the inner skin of that reflectivity, the inner mirror of the higher mind that is the bubble, the threshold, the border of your dimension of experience. And it ripples out. And in the waves, the beautiful vibrating waves that ripple out from your gentle touch upon that inner bubble skin, is contained all the music and all the information, all the life, light, and love of the allowance and unconditional support of creation and all that is. And you float within this bubble, connected to all these spiral energy beings, radiating in and out simultaneously, mixing and blending and harmonizing within you, allowing you to float upon the current of this endless horizon sea of beauty. 9. And with every number and with every vibration, you go deeper within yourself and remain floating in this place of perfect balance and harmony and peace. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the cycles begin again, and the windows and doors open, and patterns overlay your reality to allow you to harmonize and align with the template of the windows and the cycles of 9 for contact, not only with beings in the cosmos, but for contact with all levels and vibrations of your own consciousness. And as you allow that template and that pattern to sink and reside and absorb within you, you feel the spiral energy of motion and action. And you feel yourself slowly spinning, floating in the void, inside the beautiful crystalline shell of the bubble of the threshold of your reality that is formed as a bubble of light, beautiful, scintillating, vibrating light of many beautiful colors and reflections. 1, and your frequency begins to rise. 2, and rises higher still. 3, and continues to expand. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, until you become not only the contents of the bubble, and every space within do you fill, but you are the skin of the bubble itself. You are the threshold itself. You are the border itself. You are the skin of your reality between inner and outer. And all things in physical reality are contained holographically within you, as are represented by the holotope before you. And you are gazing into the eye of the all that is. It is a mirror reflecting back to you your own gaze. The cycles of completion are the beginnings of new cycles. And the beginnings of new cycles will always lead to the cycles of completion. And forever familiar shall be this land, this border, this country that is yours that is within you. Your reality is beautiful, mysterious, and spiritual, and mystical, and contains all the information you need, all the information you require, presented to you in synchronous waves that lap upon the shore from your infinite horizon. You are a bubble floating in a sea of bubbles, infinitely expanding outward in spirals of 9, 9, 9. Allow yourself to breathe this in, gently, beautifully, clearly, and exhale the crystal clarity of the new environment of your reality, of your shifting vibrations into parallel world after parallel world, along the lines of 9, the spirals of 9, the cycles of 9, opening new doors and windows within your world, so that you may see that even within the bubble there is infinity, and you are at the center, always at the center of an infinite sea of awareness, of intelligence, of knowledge, of emotion, of action, of being, of life, light, and love that is always streaming to you and from you in your web, your net, your spirals of 9. Take a deep breath in and make it your own. Crystallize it with the crystal clarity of the snowflakes of the season. And you are crystallizing the vibration in your neurological net of all cycles, so that you may know that you are on the journey to become the master of cycles, the master of the threshold, the masters of the crossing, and that you will eventually and ultimately expand into the infinite sea that lies beyond your border. But while you stand upon that threshold, you shall know and shall feel that that land contains all that you require, all that you need. You are infinitely supported, abundantly supported, perfectly timed. You are this aspect of all that is. Take a deep breath in and make it your own, and let it out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And take a deep breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it, and blow like the north wind, and crystallize that reality, crystallize that vibration, crystallize, crystallize, crystallize. The cycles of 9 are now open to you. The patterns overlay your life and will act as the eddies and currents that guide you in spirals, cycles of wonder and discovery, expansion and ecstasy, beauty and love. Allow your music to soften. Allow your lights to dim. And allow yourselves to remain at rest, focused on the mirror of the infinite eye of all that is, that you are gazing back at you. For this is your life and light and love, eternally. Continue to breathe gently and easily, and feel within your heart, within your mind, within your body, and within your soul the unconditional love and deep appreciation that we send to you always. You never need to step outside that stream, for you have all you need here and now. Our unconditional love to you, the sweetest of dreams, is what you are. Allow yourselves to come into the new reality, slowly waking up lucidly in the new dream, for you are a new dream at this moment, on this day. The cycle of transformation will continue. But it'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. First and foremost, once again, we thank each and every one of you, individually and all of you together, collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission in this way on this day. We are always given a gift when we are able to interact with all of you. So we thank you for the gift of expansion that you give to us in allowing us to experience through you that many more ways that creation has of expressing itself within the existence that it is. And that's what brings us to today's subject, your indestructible core. Why are you here? All right, well, some of you are here to laugh. But fundamentally, though it may sound a little bit like a puzzle, why you are here is because you exist. Why do you exist? Because you do. Many people on your planet, philosophers, have asked, why? Why do we exist? Why are we here? This is a question created from within the space-time perspective. It is not a relevant question for existence itself, because existence only has one quality: to exist. That's its fundamental state. Because you are an aspect, a reflection of existence, that's your fundamental state as well. And when we say fundamental, we mean fundamental. That's it. Can't get any more basic than the fact that you exist. And when I say you exist, we mean you exist. Meaning your particular unique perspective, your unique point of view, your identity, the things that you experience in life that you believe are happening to you is what exists. You, your unique perspective exists. Therefore, it is absolutely unable to not exist. The fundamental quality of existence cannot become anything else on an equally fundamental level. As we have often said, it can become any kind of form or expression, but it cannot become non-existence. By definition, non-existence doesn't exist. Therefore, that which exists cannot become that which does not exist, because there's no such thing as non-existence. You can talk about it, you can use the words non-existence and think that you're actually talking about non-existence, but you're not, because even the term non-existence exists within existence. Therefore, the term, the idea, the concept that sometimes your philosophers may bandy about in discussing and thinking about and pondering the concept of non-existence is not really a discussion about non-existence. It's a discussion about a symbol that represents the idea of non-existence, but there can be no discussion. There can be no concept. There can be no conceiving. There can be no perceiving of anything that is actually non-existence, because again, by definition, there is no experience in that idea at all. Even if, just to push the philosophical point, you were capable of experiencing non-existence, you would never know it. Because there would be no reflection, nothing to bounce back to you, no awareness that you had experienced it. That's the very fundamental definition of non-existence. There is no existence there for you to have an experience of anything in. Therefore, if you really wrap your minds, wrap your hearts, wrap your souls around the concept that your fundamental state of being is that you exist. You exist. And while you may perceive yourself in many different ways, in many different forms, throughout the course of your existence, physical, non-physical, other dimensional, parallel, what have you, doesn't matter, you will still exist. Your unique perspective will still exist. In other words, anything that happens will be happening from your point of view to you. Even when your philosophers say that there is a point at which you may blend and be absorbed back into the all that is, absorbed into God, you never lose your identity. The only thing that is left in that experience is your identity as all that is. The you-ness can never go away. It is absolutely indestructible. It is the nature and essence of existence itself that forms your indestructible core. You cannot destroy that. It is simply not possible. It is the direct expression of the first law of existence, that you do exist. And that will never change. And again, the emphasis being very important, not even so much the emphasis as, yes, you exist, but that you exist. So if you exist, the unique identity, the unique perspective that you are, you must need to exist. Existence must need you to exist in order for existence to be all that it can be. In order for it to really be all that existence is, you have to exist. So since you already do, that will never change. Therefore, this keys into the concepts that many of you explore in your lives of unworthiness, undeservability. I don't deserve, I'm not worthy. These concepts can only be experienced because you are worthy. Because if you were not really worthy, you would not exist. Because existence hasn't made a mistake in making you. You are part of existence. You are part of existence. You have value. You have worth. You deserve to know that. You deserve to understand that. And when I say know that, I mean know that. Because it is the fundamental truth. The fundamental truth. You exist. Nothing can take that away from you. You exist. Therefore, you are worthy, and you are valuable, and you are deserving. So anytime in your experience of life, when you buy into a belief system that may make that idea of your worth seem to be more true than the fact of your existence, give yourself the opportunity to remember. Give yourself the opportunity to take a moment, because there's only one moment in existence anyway. You might as well take that one. And in that moment, allow yourself to simply sit and be and realize that no matter what you may experience in life that tells you you are not worthy, you are not deserving, you have no value, no matter what you may hear, no matter what you may have been taught to believe is true, just being will confirm the real truth. Because all you have to do is just be and recognize that that's your existent self right there. No matter what anyone says, that's never going to change, even if you may change the way you express it. But you must understand that whatever belief you may buy into is not necessarily the truth. It is simply an apparent truth. More discussion of this idea and a breakdown of this idea will be given at another time. But for now, the idea is when going through life, anytime you may doubt yourself, anytime you may fear, anytime you may feel unworthy, anytime you may feel less than, anytime you may believe anything else other than that you are absolutely valuable, take that moment that is your moment to take and just remember that you exist. That your fundamental core, your essence, your essential self, your essential point of view, your essential perspective can never be destroyed. It's all right to bring yourself back to zero, back to a clean slate. Anytime you become confused, anytime you feel lost, anytime you have self-doubt, take that moment, bring yourself back to ground zero. Let it be a clean slate and just allow yourself to remind yourself. Allow yourself to remind yourself that yourself is a unique point of view of existence and that the unique point of view you are cannot vanish, cannot be annihilated, cannot disappear from existence because you are an essential ingredient in the makeup of the very fundamental state of being itself. That is how valuable you are. That is how worthy you are. That is how deserving you are. So as you go through life, allow yourself to begin to feel that indestructible core more and more viscerally, more and more readily. Let it become a true physical experience for you. Because it is real. Existence, obviously, is real. And you are a part of it. And there will never be anything you can do to change that. So, when you argue about your worth, when you have self-doubt, you are attempting to argue with existence about your existence. You can never win that argument. Ever. So, please, stop arguing. Relax into the understanding that you are an infinite, eternal being. That is your nature. It's your very core, essential nature. No matter what else is going on in the space-time reality game, in the space-time reality play, no matter what apparent truths you think are true, you think you know are true, this is the one thing you can absolutely know for a fact. You exist. Nothing can take that away from you. Nothing. Even existence itself can't take that away from you, or it would annihilate itself, which it can't do because there is no place for existence to go. Because non-existence doesn't exist by definition. That is rock solid. That is your guarantee. That is your absolute right there. You are absolute in your existence, no matter how you may change, no matter how you may see yourself, no matter what kind of an experience you may have. You